Well, hey guys, welcome to the channel and another stream and yet another chapter. Working on that guy right there. That's our B-2A Spirit Bomber by Model Collect. It's a 1/72nd scale model kit. We're going to wrap this up. We're going to run that intro. We'll be back in a minute. Alright guys, we're back and we're going to wrap this up today. We are going to finish this kit off. I have it all done. She's all finished. Yeah, here she is right here. She's all finished. She's got all the paint done, all the decals are on, everything is done except for one last little thing, and that would be the bombs underneath. We're all done except for the bombs. And that's what we're going to do today. That's what we're going to get finished off with, okay? So, she's a big bird, so I got to move a couple of things out of my way so that I can work on her right here on my desk. So just bear with me a minute here. Okay, let's move a few things out of the way. Other projects, including my Pepsi. And my Ionic 5. I'll move this out of the way for now, and we will get started on this, okay? So, let's grab her and see what we got going on. Well, looks like you got a little bit of dust happening on here, but that's okay. Dust is fine. So we've got to take this masking tape off, and we've got to, I'm going to have to re-glue a few of our little pegs on here. So let's change this camera and let's have a look at her, okay? So, yeah, so our masking tape has been on here for a while with a lot of taping, a lot of painting going on, and of course being sat down on her belly, I already know a few of our little pegs have come loose. And basically the only thing holding them on still is the masking tape, and so that's good. That's all right. So I need to pull this masking tape off here so that we can get at this. I'm going to cut our tape here just to make my life a little easier. Scissors in there. There we go. And we can pull that back like this. Let's have a look here. Don't want to pull anything off. Yeah, we got, oh no. Looks like they all stayed. How about that? But I'm pretty sure we've got some loose. Oh yeah, see that one's loose. I got a couple of loose ones, or at least one anyway. One's really loose. That's really, wow, they all survived. They all survived except the one. Just this one here. He's come loose. So I'm just going to line him up. We're going to re-glue him. I'm going to re-glue him, put him back in his spot. We're going to put the bombs in, or at least the bomb. Let's get you back in there. He seems to have pulled out from his little spot, so let's see if we can get him back in his little channel there where he belongs. There we go. Yeah, nicely lined up. Perfect. All right, this guy is not lined up, but that's okay. That's a little bit insignificant. Okay, so we got to put the bomb in the bay. Put the bomb in the bay. That's right. So I have the one bomb right here. This guy's going to go in the bay. and he's going to go in on this side here where I attached my extra little braces going across here, right? Because we didn't have those in before. Now basically I'm just going to pick a side that's going to look nice sitting straight up. I think this side looks nice, so we're going to have this side up, okay, or sort of up, because she's going to sit like this, okay. She's going to sit in this angle like that, and we're basically just going to drop her down right in there, and she's just going to sit right in the middle there like this, just like that, and that's it. So I can see my fin is touching right in here, so I'm not sure how much actual contact I'm getting on my pegs, but I am going to put glue on them anyway. You might ask, what kind of glue am I going to use? Because this is resin, so you can't use regular hobby glue. You can't use this stuff on this. It won't do anything. Because the reason why this stuff works is because it actually melts the plastic. And so it melts the plastic together, like, and it goes together and the plastic becomes one, and that's how your parts get glued in. This, however, is not made of plastic, and so this won't melt like that. So we got two options. We can either use CA glue and have it instant and rigid, or we can use some 5-minute epoxy. I want to use a little 5-minute epoxy because I can utilize the fact that the epoxy is going to be a thicker glue, and I can build it up on these little things and actually have it squish down on them and get a little bit better bond. And of course the epoxy will be just that little bit flexible and will withstand, you know, some shock or jarring or something like that. So we need to mix them up. So first thing I'm going to do is get this kind of out of my way just a little bit. Just set it down there so that I can get something out. I'm just going to pull out, oh, what the heck, I'll just grab this plastic bag, and this is what I'm going to use to mix my epoxy on. So I've got this stuff here. This is, I believe it's 3M. Already opened, used it for other things. It will suit our purposes well. I'll get my mixing stick. It's 2-part, and so you got to mix them together. I'm just making sure the air is all at the top, that's all. Okay, let's start squeezing this out. There we go. There we go. I want to get this back, put the cap back on there, put her back over here, and let's do a little bit of mixing. This stuff does stink, I will tell you that. It does not smell good. It does dry clear, so you don't have to worry about that. Even if it is looking a little milky right now, it dries perfectly clear. So that's one thing that's really good about this stuff. Okay, so we're going to grab our plane and get a little bit of epoxy on here, and we're going to put some on here. Like I said, because it's really hard to tell underneath, I'm not sure if it's actually making any contact there or not, but it might be. And just in case it's not, we're going to put some on here, right in the middle, and right here. Okay. I don't really mind if I got some drippies going on underneath the bomb. And then of course I know for a fact that the wing was touching, so I'm going to put some on the bottom side of this wing here. Right, just like that. Because I know for sure that was going to touch. Okay. We don't want to move it around too much as we're putting it in. Okay. And I need to make sure I'm holding it correctly. So like this. And we'll get down in here. I actually want to move this out of the way. this. And I just got epoxy on my shirt. That's just wonderful. Frack me. There we go. She's in. And that's our bomb. Not that you could see, but that sucks that that happened to hit my shirt, because that stuff does not like to clean off very well at all. And well, lesson learned. Clean off your tool before it falls on the floor, before it hits your shirt. It's ruined one of my favorite shirts. Okay, so sorry that kind of was off camera. She's in her spot, okay, and she moving around. She'll slide a little bit until that epoxy dries. She's gonna move a little bit, but that's gonna take a little time to dry. Okay, so what's next? We have our other bomb that's gonna be going in this bay, but the bomb is going to be deployed. It's been launched, right? They've dropped it. So what I'm going to do, I have my other bomb here. That's this guy right here. Okay. I was looking at this the other day and thinking I want to do a little bit of detail on it, because you should be able to see through our little spread open fins. But because of paint and stuff like that, when I first printed this off in the resin, you could see through. But then in the course of painting the primer, painting with the yellow, then the green, and then the silver on there, the holes have been filled in. So I'm going to take some panel liner and a little brush. Actually, just for the sake of argument, I'm going to move this out of the way temporarily. I'm going to let our bomb dry a little bit there. Okay, and we'll work on this guy. I'm going to need a little brush. Because the brush in my Tamiya bottle actually fell off of this and is sitting down at the bottom of the jar somewhere. Okay, let's change this back. Sitting down at the bottom of the jar somewhere. So I'm going to use an actual brush and just kind of go over these a little bit on there and fill these in. Just do that little bit of detail on there to give the kind of the illusion that they're holes, even though they were holes at one time, but they no longer are. So we have to pretend now Okay, 2 done. There are actually still, there's the odd holes still left in this that I'm able to see through, but for the most part they're filled in. Okay, so I should do the other side too, because after all, it's a 3D model. go. The idea, of course, is to get the little holes filled in with black. Okay, one more. I just realized you guys are staring at the top of my head. Here we go. I'm going to do this one again just because I'm seeing a lot of silver underneath there. And the idea is to pretend it's see-through. Just kind of give these ones a little bit better of a once over here. Of course, this was the end, the side that the supports were on when I did the 3D printing on this. And so this side is not looking it doesn't look that great because it had all the supports on it. So yeah, it could look better, but that's a little bit of the compromise you do, right? Okay, I think that looks pretty good. When this is hanging up, it's going to look even better. Speaking of hanging, what are we doing about that? Well, he's going to be displaying this thing in flight with the bomb dropping, right? And you may have noticed I've got this sitting on my desk. Okay, that is a little piece of rod that is actually from an RC car. This was used as like it went from like a servo to a steering arm or something like that. And so this rod is very, very hard and stiff. It's very, yes, you can bend it, it bends, but it is a hard material. That's why I've got my great big heavy duty pliers out here to actually trim this. Just regular nippers is not strong enough to cut this stuff. Okay, this stuff requires some heavy duty things. So I'm thinking we're gonna have this thing drop, so we need to have a hole in this thing in order to put this rod through. And I also need to drill a hole into the bomb bay, right? So let's see if I can determine what size this thing is, because I got to get a drill bit that's roughly the same size. It might be bigger than any of these, which it definitely is. Okay, even the biggest one is just too small. So which means I'm going to be grabbing my pin vise and dump some fittings out of it. In fact, this one that's in it might be pretty close. Let's just have a look here. No, the one that's in it is too small. Okay, and that's kind of my go-to one. So let's see what we got going on in here. This one is close, but it's still a little, it's a fraction. I think if I use this one, it's going to be just a fraction too small. We'll see. We'll try this one first. Okay. So I'm going to have to re-clean my brush later, so I want to put it back in here so that my bristles are safe. But I need to leave it out so I remember to clean it later. Okay. Put this guy over to the side. These guys all over here, out of the way. Okay. Alright, let's grab our plane. This bomb is now very, very stuck in here, and she's not moving. She ain't going nowhere. See? She ain't going nowhere. The bomb's in there. As for this one, she's gonna need a hole, and I'm thinking right here in the center is pretty well good enough. So let's start drilling a hole. Just like that. We'll go on a little bit of an angle. Let's see if our rod fits. And she doesn't fit. So let's just see if I can make this a little bit like that. Hey, she fits now. We got a rod in there. Perfect. So the question now is, how far down is this bomb going to be hitting? Right? We want her down just a little bit like this. I think roughly like that is pretty good, right? If we do it like that, the bomb is deployed and she's down like that. I think that's a pretty good distance, which means I want to cut it right about there. Right about there. Okay. So I'm just going to hold on to that. Put our plane down again. Got my finger at the point where I want to cut. So, right about there. Give this a squeeze. There we go. Okay, now which one was it? Which one did I want? I think it was the longer one, right? I think it was the longer one I wanted. Is that right? Yeah, it's gonna go like that. I'm gonna do that, right? Alright. So, roughly about the same spot, because these bombs would drop like this, about straight down, which is going to be about just this far back from the edge of the fin, about that level there. I don't think it really matters which side is up. I'm going to go back about this far right there. We're going to go in the middle. Okay. And we're going to go a little bit of an angle like this. And a little bit to the side. Let's make sure this fits. Just like that. Yes. All right. So, just like that. And that's how the bomb's going to be. Just that little tiny bit of an angle. I want that to show that it's dipping down. Okay? Just like that. Okay. So what we can go, but woo, look at that, eh? Woo. I think that is absolutely perfect. That's going to look cool. Plane's flying, she's dropping the bomb. Now that's a little bit too much of an angle. It wouldn't realistically be like that. It would be a little bit more straight, that far out of the plane. We want just a little bit down, right? Just a little bit. Like that. Yeah, I think that's good. So, I realize I just put this back up over here, and that happens to be where I got the 5-minute epoxy, and I'm really hoping I didn't accidentally dip it in the 5-minute, and I did not, so it's fine. It's fine. Let's just move this totally out of the way, out of harm's way. Okay, so with the holes drilled, we can focus on something else. Let's get this back the way I had this, because I like that one bit. I like to keep it in there. Let's put all these back in. I heard a bit drop. There it is. Let's put this one back in here. It's kind of my go-to size that I use quite often. Okay, so I want to paint this black. Okay, I don't want it a nice shiny silver anymore. That should not be silver. So a nice shade of black, or flat black even, would be best. Let's use Tamiya's XF1 flat black. Okay. Even though that's not the best, it should suit our needs. So I'm going to hold on to it with a good strong pair of tweezers. I said a good strong pair of tweezers. There we go. And we're just going to kind of slather the paint on here. One funny thing about I've noticed with the Tamiya flat black, you try and paint over it before it's dry, it kind of peels itself off. It really kind of sucks about it like that. This is what I like to see. See, it just did it there. I hate this stuff. I really hate it. I really do. So screw you. Screw you, paint. I'm going with Mr. Hobby. My Mr. Hobby leveling thinner. not. Okay, I misspoke. It's Mr. Hobby, Mr. Surfacer, 1500 black. Come on, mix. Okay. This stuff just paints so much nicer. So, yeah. It's just the way it is. See that? It's just nice. It's just nice. For some reason, the Tamiya flat black just... I don't know what it is with it. But it just does that to itself. There we go. So we've got a little black rod now. So let's just clamp onto that. Let that dry for a minute while I clean the brush. And while I'm at it, I might as well clean my other brush. So you get into your spot there. Okay, brush cleaning. So now we've got that taken care of. We know how that's going to go in there. The rod is painted, so that's all that part's done. So the only thing left is to glue our Bombay doors on. Get that taken care of. And once those are on, we can get the masking tape off of the canopy. I'm just going to take this and put this over back here. Give that a few minutes to dry. We'll put our bomb out of the way. Okay. So, Bombay doors. Bombay doors. I have them sitting over here. They've just been sitting here. They're all painted. They've been waiting patiently for me to finally get this ready for them. They've been waiting oh so patiently with all these little bits of masking tape on them to preserve the white side. So let's get all of this tape off of here. There's one. Now I believe in one of my, when I was looking at photos of this plane and researching for colors and all that stuff and how to paint this thing, I believe I saw, in similar fashion to the F-14s, they have have a red outline around the bay doors for the landing gear. Now that I think about it, I'm not sure if they have it for the bomb bay doors. Landing gear bay doors, I'm pretty sure they do have the red outlines, just like you see on an F-14. But I don't remember if they have them on the bomb bay doors. It's a little detail, and I don't think it's really significant. It's one of those things. Of course, this kit doesn't give you any color callouts at all for anything like that. Doesn't tell you to paint anything, really. But that's just the way it is. Like I said, Model Collect, they just seem to, like, hey, you want to build this kit? Good luck. Here's all your parts. See ya. Okay, so there we go. So there's our bomb base. Our skinnier ones go into the middle, I believe. We've got skinnier ones and we got fatter ones. Okay, like that. You see the two widths? Okay, like that. Two different widths. I believe it was our taller ones that go onto the outsides, like this. So where is your matchy? And then our skinny ones go onto the inside. So let's see if we can get these together here. That might not be the right side. Let's see, that was another thing, as I line these all up. So these are all going to match specifically the door that I line them up with. Just like that. So I just need to make sure that as I line it up, it's flat against the fuselage and that it's nice and tight on there. Each one should match up and be nice and tight. These tweezers aren't very strong, so let me grab another set of tweezers here. Yeah, you guys. Let's try and do a little squeeze with these. These are a little bit thicker metal. There we go. Okay, so let's get some glue on this one. Put glue on all of our little spindles. There we go. Okay, so that's one side. Now I want to get this door on, and then we're going to turn the whole thing around. So let's figure out which door this one is. It looks like maybe this one. This one doesn't really line up on the end, so maybe it's this guy. It is this guy. So again, I want to make sure it's right flat against here as I get all these squeezed in here. This end one doesn't quite line up nicely, but we will convince him. Get these nice and tight in there. There, that's good. It's a little bit easier on the end ones to squeeze them in there tight. Okay. Glue this one in. Once you got some glue on it, of course the glue softens it so you can squeeze them in there a little tighter if they're not wanting to go. If for some reason they don't want to go. Just want to make sure he's glued in there. Okay, let's turn this little bird around so I can do the other side. Okay, it's going to be a little bit tough here. You run out of room quickly with this. Okay, so this one needs to just kind of slide down in here and meet up with them. I'm almost tempted to put some glue on it first to help it slide down. No, it's okay. We're in. We're in. Tight fit, but we're in. Can kind of course my tweezers are a little narrow. Let's see, let's try these ones. They all line up pretty good, so glue on each and every single one of them. There we go. Okay, one final door. Again, making sure it's nice and flush against the fuselage. Give this a little squeeze in there. Okay, this one needs a little convincing. Get in there. There we go. And last one on this end. Just like that. All right. Alright, that's it. Our bay doors are glued in. Just like that. Alright. Just like that. Yeah. Okay, so with that done, what I want to do, we're going to flip her over. And we're going to see how our canopy survived. All of the painting ordeal, all the sanding. Let's do a canopy reveal, guys. Let's see how she came out. Am I going to have to get rid of some overspray, maybe some bleeding through. We'll find out soon enough. Looks like we got something right there that doesn't look too good. Not sure what that is. It's an imperfection is what it is. Because I got such thick layers of paint on these, the tape doesn't really want to come off. Jerk. There we go. There's one side. I got a little bit of schmutz kind of in there. I think a little bit of alcohol on a cotton swab might clean that up a little bit. One last section. The trick is getting under the tape. There we go. So I seem to have the same little line. It looks like a crack almost. If I didn't know better, I'd say it's a crack. But there's our canopy. So a little bit of foggy in there for that tint, but that kind of, you know, makes the pilots kind of, you can see them, but you know, that's kind of a neat effect. It's not crystal clear yellow, but that's kind of the effect we're going for, right? But you can see that little bit right there at the very tip. I'm not sure what that is. It's almost like paint, maybe clear leaked underneath there. I might be able to clean that off. It feels very thick on there, and I got the same thing on this side too, right? It's almost like, I don't know, almost like stress cracks or something. I don't know. It's kind of what it looks like. It kind of feels like a crack too. All right, that is it. So that's our bird. That's it. Okay, so let me change the camera. Change the camera. The bird doesn't fit on that camera. So flip her back over so our bombs are up there. Let's go grab that rod again. Okay, let's grab that rod. We're almost done. Almost done, guys. Almost done. This has now had a good 5 minutes to dry. It's not perfectly flat black, but you know what? From a distance, it's going to be fine. Okay, so which end do I want to put in the bomb? I can do it like that. That'll work. Or I can do, because this is the end that I held. I was holding on to this end when I painted. I could put the painted end in. It doesn't really matter. It just makes it a little tougher to go in there. And I think that probably just scraped the paint off, which it did. So it doesn't matter which end I put in. What does matter is putting a little glue on it. Now again, if I use CA glue, but I've got like half a second to get that rod in there and let it cure, right? I really hate that. And that's why I'm going to be using the epoxy again. I just don't need as much. This is probably dry now. Yep, that's kind of dry. If you know, yeah, it's a little tacky, but it's dry, right? So if it's dry, then how come it's tacky? Shut up, that's why. Okay, so let's get some more. We're going to epoxy this thing in. Again, I'm going to wait for this to get some air bubbles to the top rather than right at the nozzle. There we go. And mix. Again, we don't need much, especially for this. We just need a little drop because it's already pretty tight in the hole. Yes, I know what I said. The hole is tight. Mix this up nice. Good mixture. Something I have noticed with the epoxy, you do have to mix it well. If you only mix it a little bit, you'll find you'll come back, it doesn't quite harden all the 100%. It stays kind of tacky, sticky. So yeah, it is good idea to really make sure that you mix it well. Okay, now like I said, I don't need a lot, so I'm just going to put a little bit on the tip here because that's going to slide in and go all the way down like that. Okay, and like I said, I want it on a little bit of an angle, but not all the way. Okay. And in fact, I'm going to take a Q-tip and I'm going to get rid of a little bit of the excess that's sticking out. If I can, just kind of wipe that off a little bit. There. Okay. Now, for the part that goes in the plane, put some at the top there. Again, just go around the perimeter of it, put some on there, and stick it in. There we go. Smear it around a little bit. I want that straight as I can. I want the bomb a little straighter. Yeah. So I could hold it in its spot. I think like that will work. Oops, camera. I think that's a good angle. Just like that. She's angling down just a little bit. Yeah. As you know, a minute goes by, a lot happens actually. So, let's do that. Put her down there. Don't click buttons on my mouse. Okay, I gotta clean this quickly. Gotta clean that up and get rid of this. Okay. that's it. So guys, that's it for this build. She's done. I literally just got to wait for this to dry, and that's it. So that's where I'm going to leave it. This build is finished. Done. Ta-da! Yeah, she's all done. What I'm going to do is I'll take a few pictures and I'll put it up on my Instagram for you guys, like I always do. You'll find links down in the description box below. You'll see links to my Instagram and for my Twitch channel, my X channel, even Discord, which I never go on, but it's there. And yeah, I'll take a bunch of pictures of this and I'll put it up on my Instagram, and you guys can check those out if you feel like it. Also, I'd really recommend it if you hit the like button and subscribe down below. That would be really cool. And I'll give you a little hint of what's coming up in my next build. That would be this right here, if I get that in camera. Yeah, that's what's coming up next. So yeah, we're gonna let this dry, take some pictures, and that'll be it. Call this one done. Yeah, I want to thank you guys for watching. Thank you for coming along with me on this journey. Let me just say, would I recommend this kit? I would say I would still, even though this kit did give me a few headaches and was a little ambiguous in the instructions, I would still probably prefer this kit over the Revell. Not that I've built the Revell, because I haven't, but just knowing how Revell kits are, I would probably prefer this because the detail is really nice on this. The detail is really crisp and nice. The build is just a little not perfect, that's all. And yeah, you guys saw I put a lot of putty and stuff like that in all these panels, but the panels are designed to be opened really and not closed, and so yeah, you wind up with that kind of thing. And there are some stuff with the wings and the fins and stuff like that, the flaps that don't really quite fit all that great, and yeah, there's those problems, which I'm sure the Revell kit probably has similar stuff, would be my assumption anyway. Anyway guys, like I said before, that's where I'm going to leave it, and that's going to be called done. I want to thank you for watching, and we'll see you all in the next one.